Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists. Hello, I'm Dango Rose, and this is the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. In this week's episode, we talked to Deb D'Andrea about Victory Gardens in Nederland and how they have been growing the organization.
We hear this week's music mentions from Jamie Lammers, and then speak to Jesse Ansari about what's ahead at the Nederland Community Library.
And for our final story, Dango interviews John Ridnell, otherwise known as Black Dog. We hear about his upcoming album with band New Family Dog, and we also share something not many people know about one of our favorite resident music makers.
But first, some news from your neighborhood.
Timberline Fire Protection District is offering free wildfire mitigation assessments to all homeowners within the district. TFPD is also hiring mitigation and woodland firefighters and has an open call for volunteers. Visit timberlinefpd.colorado.gov for more information.
The Mountaineer is hiring a marketing coordinator and advertising salesperson. If you are outgoing, love meeting new people, are organized, and are proficient in Google Docs and Sheets, this could be the position for you. Email info@themountaineer.com for more information.
The town of Nederland is hosting a town hall meeting Tuesday, January 31st from 6 to 8 p.m. to discuss the Nederland Police Department. Community members are encouraged to attend the 2-hour discussion. The meeting will also be available online. Find the link by visiting townofnederland.colorado.gov.
In Gilpin County, the Board of County Commissioners updated the county's dog ordinance during their regular meeting, January 24th, 2023. The ordinance covers the welfare, control, and licensing of all dogs in Gilpin County. After much discussion and public comment, the board passed the amended resolution, and it will become effective on March 1st.
You can read more about the ordinance and other mountain news in this week's edition of the Mountaineer newspaper or by visiting www.themountaineer.com. That's themtnear.com.
And that's it for this week's news briefs. If you have something to share, you can send requests for submission to info@themountaineer.com. As long as it meets our community standards, we'll be sure to include it in a future episode.
Special thanks to our longtime sponsor, Brightwood Music. Brightwood Music is a full-service music store located in the heart of downtown Nederland. Stop by to see their enormous selection of high-quality instruments. Want to rent before you buy? They have rental options available by the day, week, or month. If you already have an instrument in need of repair, they've got you covered there too. Find Brightwood Music on Facebook or check out their ad in the Mountaineer newspaper for current hours of operation and location. For our lead story, we had the pleasure of speaking with Jesse Ansari with the Nederland Community Library. Their calendar is full, and if you haven't been in lately, it's high time for a visit.
Yeah, we've got so much going on. It's really exciting time. We help with doing things like notary services or printing or faxing and scanning. But it's way beyond that now. I think libraries are definitely not just places for books anymore. There's a lot of programming and art and music. So a lot of fun stuff going on.
We heard you have a Valentine's Day event coming up to help raise money for the Library Foundation. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the Valentine's fundraiser is going to be really, really, really fun. That's coming up on February 11th, and it's going to be like a Ned style black tie event. So really, anything goes. You choose what black tie means, Ned style. So kind of formal, but with this fancy charcuterie and then wine tastings, and then there's going to be like live music from this band called Mystic Pulse, who are really awesome. And then there's going to be a rare book edition silent auction. So we definitely want people to come out and raise some money for that. And all the money raised gets plugged back into all sorts of these amazing programs that we're doing.
And tell us more about your role at the library.
My specialty is I'm the patron and youth services supervisor. So I'm in a role where I get to do all kinds of fun stuff, mostly the youth programs and the kids stuff. So that's things like after school clubs, and I do the baby and toddler story times every Friday, and craft workshops. And we do pretty regular take and make kits where I'll put together things like everything you need to make a craft. We've done pop-up cards and paper reads. We're running a math literacy program, and as part of that, we're doing family bingo night. And we do math club and winter and summer reading programs.
The take and make sounds like fun. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, take and make. So they take it and then you get to make it at home. So I usually put in a bunch of like a little instruction sheet. We're doing one in February. Going to be doing pop-up cards again for Valentine's. I usually put together about 20 kits in like brown paper bags, and folks can just come in and it's first come, first served, and just come and snag craft kits to take home, which it really took off during COVID. We were doing kind of Zoom craft programs during that, and it's just something that seems to really work for med folk up here, to be able to take your craft home and work on it in your own time and at your own speed. So those have been really, really popular, and it's really fun to be able to provide fun stuff like that.
And the programs fill up pretty fast?
Yeah, it kind of varies from program to program. Some of them you need, we only have a certain amount of supplies or space in the room, so you'll have to register on the website. But a bunch of them are drop-in programs. We've got, in April, we have a theatre group coming up. They'll be doing a kids' performance based on a children's book. They're coming up from CU. That's going to be really fun. But then we've done things that you don't need to register for. Like we do occasional special story times. Like last summer we did a fire truck story time. So we had the fire chief, Mike Scott, come in, and he read a book, and he was fantastic. And so they talked about firefighting, and the kids got to see them dress up in their firefighting uniforms, and then all the kids got to go and explore the fire truck. And we had a mermaid story time where we had a real mermaid come and read to the kids and do mermaid slime after that. And we got toys too. Like one of the things I'm kind of excited about right now is we have a toy library. So we're kind of one of the nationwide leaders in having a toy library. We were one of the first. So you can check out backpacks with toys in. You don't even have to buy your toys. So we're trying to think about sustainability too, and keeping stuff out the landfill. You can check out backpacks with toys.
The library also does a great job at showcasing local artists.
Yeah, I love our art space too. So currently we have Greg Marquez is the artist, and he is a local artist. He recently did the big, beautiful, colourful mural that's up on the side of the Nederland Feed and Pet store. So he's going to come in, and he's brought some of watercolours and acrylic paintings. And we have that beautiful community meeting room where we display all the artwork, and out front too. And then we also have like a 3D display case out by the front door. So we're going to have artists rotating stuff through there too. We sometimes have library themed exhibits in there, like we do at the moment in the display case. But for artists on the walls, we have exhibits that change every 3 months. So last month, the last one was a bunch of art that was created by kids. So the kids had an art contest, and the winners are getting their designs turned into our new library cards. And then the second place got their work turned into puzzles, these beautiful Liberty puzzles that you can check out from the library too. And then also some other merch from some of the kids' artwork. And so, yeah, it's a great place to feature local artists. And we've also had like staff art exhibits. We've got a lot of creative people on staff too. So they've had their artwork displayed in there too. And yeah, there's no shortage of artists and musicians kind of up here in Netherlands. So we're very lucky.
And you had some other exciting news to share?
It's a big thing I'm excited about is this collaboration we have coming up with the Netherlands Area Historical Society. So they recently secured a grant to begin a huge digitization project, hire like a professional archivist, and just to go through the Historical Society collection of all their old documents and photos that include some from the 1800s and letters. So all that treasure in their physical collection is going to be, for a few days in February, we're going to move it down to the library and we're going to organize it, start this huge digitization project, which I know the Mountaineer has been going through too, a similar thing, documenting this old stuff, and then make all that accessible to the public, which it goes in hand with another project the library's been doing for some years, recording local oral histories, and just trying to preserve and share some of these like amazing stories of long-timers. There's some incredible people up here who've done some really interesting things. So really excited about digging into that project. It's going to be really interesting.
Thank you, Jesse. And if you want to show some library love, the Valentine's Day event is February 11th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. This is a 21 and older event, and formal attire is encouraged, however you interpret that to be. You can find out more about the library by visiting NederlandCOLibraries.org.
Share the love this Valentine's Day with a message to your special someone in black and white print. Send us your poems, send us your prose to be printed in the February 9th edition of the Mountaineer newspaper. Deadline for submission is February 3rd. You can email your information to info@themountaineer.com. Now we go to correspondent Jamie Lammers, who will be delivering this week's Music Mentions.
And now, for this week's Music Mentions. Head over to Busey Brews, located at 70 East 1st Street in Nederland, to see Laura and Bill of the Gale perform on Sunday, February 12th at 2 p.m. The Covered Wagon hosts karaoke nights every Thursday at 7 p.m. Head to 15 East 1st Street in Nederland to check them out for yourself. Head to 261 Eldora Ski Road site in Nederland to check out the Eldora Timbers Lodge and Barrel Brewing Co. Fireside Music Series, as well as the Woodward DJ Boombox Series, which this week includes artists such as American Sound Lab, Clay Rose and Adam Perry from Gasoline Lollipops, Deep Rock Dave, and Mental 69. Check out my music listing in the print edition of The Mountaineer for more information about exact times and dates. Head to Howlin' Wind Brewing on Saturday, February 4th at 4 p.m. to check out Vanimal Kingdom live. It is located at 51A Main Street in Rollinsville. Head to the Jamestown Mercantile, located at 108 Main Street in Jamestown, on Wednesday, February 1st at 5 p.m. for an open mic, on Thursday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. for a Chris Sheldon and Friends performance, and on Friday, February 3rd at 7 p.m. for a Deck and Hawk performance. Every Sunday at 4 p.m., Knotted Root Brewing is honored to host Jazz Sundays with Black Dog. Head to 250 North Caribou Street in Nederland to check them out for yourself. Also check out 121 North Jefferson Street in Nederland to see Ned's Cafe's Dan Jam every Thursday at 10 p.m. and karaoke nights every Sunday at 7 p.m. And finally, head to Very Nice Brewing Company, located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, number 112 in Nederland on Saturday, February 4th at 5 p.m. to check out Mountain Reverb performing live. Did we miss your music listing? Did we miss your performance or your venue? Want to submit your music listing in the Peak to Peak area? Do you have updates to your business or your performances? Please call 303-810-5409 or email info@themountaineer.com to be included in the next print edition and the next podcast of The Mountaineer. Thank you so much for listening. Now back to Dango.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Appreciate you letting us all know what's going on at Peak to Peak. Now let's shift gears and listen to Jamie's interview with Deb D'Andrea of Victory Gardens.
Deb, for those who don't already know, can you start by giving us a little bit of history on how the Victory Gardens project started?
Victory Gardens has been around for several years. Many people know about Lynn Hanna. She's a wonderful human. And in the community here, when she passed away, she left her house to Victory Gardens because Lynn was an avid gardener. And so Jim McVeigh and her started talking, and they came up with this idea of her leaving her house to Victory Gardens.
And tell us how the project has grown since being established.
Now we have several raised beds that are on the property. We have a hothouse that's to the side, and that's where we have tomatoes. We grow, I think it was like 15 to 20 different types of vegetables, and then we have some pollinator beds for the bees and the butterflies and everybody to hang out.
And who do you work with to distribute all of the food that is grown?
Last year, worked with, some food was donated, some food was bought. The Netherlands Food Pantry, the Netherlands Farmers Market, the Ned Co-op, and Arwen out in Gilpin County with Holistic Homestead.
Tell us, who all tends to the gardens and greenhouse?
We have a bunch of volunteers that help us harvest and, grow the food and do the starts. It's all organic. We have our own compost pile, and we have our own bins where we, turn and recycle and really take from the earth and give back to the earth. We ended up getting some great manure from May, who has horses, who lives right next to the fire department last year. And so we try to really, focus on food and growing food and helping provide for the communities that are in the Peak to Peak region.
What are some of the plans for the coming year?
This year, we just put in for a grant. Actually, two. One is a smaller one and one is a larger one because we want to build a greenhouse attached to the house so that we can grow food year-round. And we want to do workshops and seminars. And I actually just took the workshop with Brigitte at Wild Bear. And I was talking because we'd love to mash up and get the kiddos over there growing food and getting their hands dirty and try to really embrace the community and bring people in.
How does the organization raise funds for the gardens? I understand there's an Airbnb on the property as well.
We're a 501c3, and the money that we get through the Airbnb goes directly into our bank account, and it is used. We pay for the cleaning to a local mom with the kiddos, and we put the money in the bank, and it's what helps us pay our taxes and our water bill and our electric bill, and helps us have a little extra money to be able to, build the raised beds and get the seeds and do the starts and just function.
And how do people find it?
It's called the Victory Gardens Guest House in Nederland, Colorado.
We also heard the organization is looking for a long-term tenant for the property.
We're renting it as an Airbnb. I think I have it set until the end of May, but we're actually looking for long-term renters who want to be part of us and not join Victory Gardens necessarily, but we want a long-term rental. It's a 2-bedroom, kitchen, living room, dining room, has laundry, and the thing is, it's a working yard. And so we would love to get, a couple people sharing it, or a family, or, just somebody who sees our vision to rent it long term. That's really our goal. We decided to continue to Airbnb it until we can find a long-term renter that embraces what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Deb, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. You can find out more about what's going on at Victory Gardens by visiting them online at nedvictorygardens.org.
Do you own a restaurant or food truck? How about a catering company or cafe? Send us your culinary information by February 15th to be included in the spring edition of Taste of the Peaks. Pick up a copy now to see what's currently on the menu for our local homegrown Colorado mountain cuisine.
That was a clip of the new family dog 6 Feet Under. Now, let's go to Dango Rose as he interviews John Ridnell, otherwise known as Black Dog.
Hey, John, so tell me, when did you first pick up the guitar?
I took my first lesson when I was 12. I had a guitar before then, but I didn't really know how to play it at all. But I definitely never, I picked it up and never really stopped.
Well, it's no secret you're from New York, but where in New York did you grow up?
Bronxville, New York, right outside the city.
When we were talking earlier, we figured out that you must have played over 7,000 gigs during your career by now. How old were you when you first stepped on the stage?
15. Started doing like teen center gigs and stuff. That's like every gig, like jazz gigs and solo gigs.
So did growing up in New York influence the direction you took as a guitar player? Or was it more what you heard on the radio?
Yeah. A lot of that came from, Leonard Skinner more than anything else opened the door to all that kind of music for me. Clapton, Allman Brothers, Hendrix. We're all huge listening stuff. My brother had the album with the stereo, my older brother, so I'd listen to all the cool stuff. It's hard for me to define my style in a sentence, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of different bags. The acoustic thing is a total different thing than the electric funk jazz thing. It's a completely different beast.
And has the guitar always been your main instrument and focus?
I grew up in the heart of the guitar. Guitar was king in the 60s, 70s, I think,
And whenabouts was it that you moved to Nederland?
1995. We had our first son, Miles, who, I perform with all the time now. We were living in Brooklyn and waking up to gunshots all the time, so I had played out here before, and actually it was my then wife, Svetlana. She's like, either Alaska or Nederland. So I chose Nederland.
Do you have any regrets about choosing Nederland over Alaska?
No, not at all. I don't have no regrets at all. I live in a great place. I own my little shack in paradise. So.
Some would call you a master of the guitar. Are you able to play any genre?
Everything but heavy metal and classical. I can kind of hang on almost anything else.
How did it come about for you to have a focus on so many different styles?
Just working on the different styles, and playing gigs in those styles, I grew up doing a lot of blues gigs, rock gigs, and funk gigs, and then, I was able to play jazz gigs, which opened up a whole other thing, I think if you can really play jazz, you can kind of approach any kind of music. Although bluegrass is really hard and has nothing to do with jazz, really. A little bit, but not much. Just playing the music that I like.
So I got to ask, is there anything new in the works that we should be excited for?
We have this Americana album coming out, New Family Dog with Miles. on Dutch Records, March 24th. That's pretty exciting.
That does sound exciting. So New Family Dog, March 24th, that's a collaboration with your son, right?
Yep. E. Miles, Sally Van Meter plays on it, produced it, and Michael Wooten's on drums. And we finished it right before COVID. You know, and I've been putting out all these records for years with no publicist, no label, nothing, you know. So this one publicist had heard my Cherish album, the one we did with Dave Watts and the gang, and he was, you know, wanting to work with me, kept calling, and so finally COVID hit and I had nothing else to do, so I called him up and he got us to deal with Dutch.
Yeah, that sounds cool. So that's a record deal, huh?
Took forever with COVID and everything, but seems to be happening, so it's pretty cool. I had Miles sign the deal. It's like, it's your first band, you're signing the record deal. It's the first label thing we've done at all.
And beyond all the performing, you've also been teaching for many years. Can you tell us a bit about that?
I've taught a fair amount of people at this point. Still teaching a bunch, you know.
And how can we find out more about New Family Dog and the upcoming album?
I'd say New Family Dog Spotify, New Family Dog Facebook, Black Dog Facebook.
Thank you, John. We look forward to hearing the New Family Dog album coming out on March 24th and to see you at venues all around the Peak to Peak. Talk to you soon.
There ain't nowhere to turn to. 6 feet down the river wasn't the way.
You know, up here in the mountains, things are weird.
That concludes this week's episode of the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening.
Visit our website at www.themountaineer.com to read more information about today's guests. Pick up a copy of this week's print edition of The Mountaineer at newsstands all across the Peak to Peak. I'm Dango Rose.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. Until next time, thank you for listening.
Either Alaska or Nederland. So I chose Nederland.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.